All right. I think we got the situation fixed. Let me make sure that we're being seen. Let's make sure that we're live. Okay, we're good to go now. We are good to go. All right, everybody go ahead and send this link out. Lesson learned. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. All right, yoo-hoo, everyone. We are back, or let's just act like nothing ever happened before. And we are here to recap season 5 of Mayhem Manor. And with me, I brought some special guests. Like I said, I first had on Mr. Jake.
Me again.
Who was there with me by my side throughout this whole thing. He was absolutely ecstatic about when he saw the cast. And Jake, you didn't even know about the whole twist until what? Maybe like 2 weeks before the game?
Yeah, it was, very, very shortly. And then my jaw dropped. I was like, oh, we're going to call people out with this cast. I was like, oh, this is it. This is so exciting.
Yeah, so Jake ran all the detentions, not all the players saw him. There were a few that didn't have to see him.
They were lucky.
Before we bring on anybody else, let's give it up for the person who outlasted all. He said he was 1 of 29. Let's give it up for our winner, Mr. Nicholas.
Thank you.
Now, Nick, what was it like winning fucking Mayhem Manor?
I mean, going in, you see before when you've dropped the entire cast and you see 32, it's like, okay, 1 out of 32 chance. That's, we're going for a good time, not for the longest time. You don't really expect much out of it sometimes. So you're like, okay, I got to make the best that I can out of it. So that's what I was planning to do.
Now, you've played multiple times. What did you do this time differently? What was your lesson?
Gosh, my biggest lesson was just going in and doing it. I mean, for Mayhem Manor season 3, my first live game, first everything, I would have I wasn't even stepping into conversations like that. I was just just kind of there, wallflower. And this time I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to step into the conversation. I think I found myself in a lot of conversations, almost too many. I think my game was on the brink of explosion maybe once or twice. But this time I was like, I'm just going to go and do it. And there was less wobbly legs. I wasn't as nervous. I was just like, it is what it is. I've played twice. It's fine. This is my 3rd time. I'm just going to go for it. And once you're in that clear headspace and you're like, you know what, let's just do it. You think clearly.
You were a completely different Nick. And even from oh my God, it's one clip that I can't wait to post. When you were adamant about Matthew going into one of those last eliminations. But we'll get to that a little later. But let's also bring a star from earlier on in the game. This person from the very first round earned everyone's respect. Not only do we have the winner, but we have officially voted the Rob Goddess by all of the players. We have Aaron. Aaron, welcome.
Hi.
Aaron, just let you know you were voted Rob Goddess from all the players in their after game survey. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's dig into the game a little bit.
Okay.
The very first round, Aaron, you get put into elimination. Do you remember by who?
The house, I think it was.
It was the house by 11 votes. 11 votes. How did that feel? How did that feel?
Well, at first I was kind of annoyed. I was like, wait, what the hell? You don't even know me yet. Well, I kind of understand where they're coming from. I was kind of not really social. I was kind of, this is very new to me. So I was very kind of antisocial. I was trying to include myself. It's very hard for me. It was out of my comfort zone. So, but then when I beat the detention, it was kind of okay.
Now, Nick, did you vote for Aaron that first round?
No hard feelings. No hard feelings.
I may or may not have cast a vote that way.
You didn't. I'll tell you who you did vote for.
Oh, I didn't? Oh, I voted Brinkley, didn't I?
No, you voted for Frank.
Oh, did I? Okay. Oh, did I? Oh.
Hey, Frank. Frank definitely had one of the most explosive Mayhem experiences ever. Definitely also Night Zero legend, I would say. Can we talk about how your game started, Frank? I think he may have dropped his phone in the bubbles. So we're going to come back to Frank, but we will talk about who had some words for Frank that first day.
Where's my drink?
So Casey, you had a great Mayhem 4. You came out most beloved, and then you come into Mayhem 5, a freaking wrecking ball, and you had your eyes set on Frank for some odd reason. What happened?
Okay. Number 1, too much vodka. Number 2, well, I came in and I was like, a lot of the newbies were, it's like, oh, I heard the people, the vets that they come for the newbies because they all know each other. And I wanted them to know, like, I'm not going to gang up on you guys because you're new. That's not what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I could, kind of play it right with them and stick around a little longer. And then, but in talking to them, it rubbed some of the vets the wrong way, including, I believe, Frank. And then being drunk, he said something to me after someone said that someone was going around saying my name night 1. And I'm like, first of all, this is night 0. No one should have my name in their mouth. I'm trying to help.
Yeah.
And so when someone said my name, and then I don't know, Frank made some sort of comment that I don't remember, I saw red. So that's
Got it.
And I have to apologize profusely because I was pretty damn rude. Even though in the moment I meant every word, but I did apologize.
Well, you didn't rub everybody the wrong way, because if you don't know, that second round, I believe, Aaron, you actually saved Casey, and if you hadn't, she would have been in elimination.
Yeah, I know. I told her that I did.
She saved you, and she put in Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody said, wait.
Yeah, when Aaron did that, and then when I found out she had saved me, it's like, it was one of those moments where me and her have had conversations, and all you can do is trust someone's word. That's all you can do until they completely ruin your word and vote you in and just say, oh, yeah, I know we had an alliance, but forget that, Taylor. So it was great that Aaron said she had my back, and she did. And I really appreciate that. And I was like, Aaron's a loyal bitch. I'm like, love Aaron, love her. She's going to the end. She's going to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but me saving you kind of ruffled some feathers.
Ooh.
A little bit.
Frank, are you done taking your bubble bath?
Hey.
No.
Yes. I my internet was super bad, and I realized I had 70 tabs open, so that's probably why the internet was bad.
Got it. Well, we were just talking about the night 0 effect that you and Casey had, and that also spilled over into the game with Aaron then saving Casey and putting you in on the second round.
Yeah.
I think that was a classic case of mistaken identity. Marcelino also has a beard, and I think that I was just caught in some crazy crosshairs there.
Is that what happened? There is someone who came to me after the game and told me that they had a little bit more insight on that first fight. So coming to the stage, we need to hear from Dr. Brinkley.
Oh, I was waiting for you to bring me on this fucking thing, child. Yes, girl, you were a little intoxicated. So as I was sober, I can tell you what happened. So what actually happened was Casey, Marcelino, myself, and Frank were all having a conversation. Marcelino says to Casey, hey, I believe, just let you know, like people are throwing your name out. And Casey is like, oh, well, who's throwing my name out? What are people saying? Why are people saying stuff? And so Casey gets really upset about that. And so I come along and say, Casey, honestly, I'm not hearing your name, but people are saying that you are drunk and you are getting messy. And then Casey goes, well, then who said it? And I'm like, well, a lot of people are saying it. And Casey goes, well, if you aren't telling me who said it, then it's you and Marcelino who said it.
Woo!
And so that's how that whole thing gets started. And I pump off. I'm like, girl, I said what I said. I leave. And I think Marcelino leaves too. So the only person left to get the fire was Frank.
Should have left.
And once she got my scent, she was on me like a hound.
Because there was back and forth between me and you, and I just like, I don't know. I in the moment, yeah, I saw red, and I just was like, Frank's coming for me, and I just couldn't let it go.
Frank, you came to me and you told me your lesson learned was never showing up for day 0 again.
Yeah,
Well,
for
and
real.
then-
Last year, I missed night 0, and I had a very successful game.
I mean, your game wasn't that unsuccessful this time, but you definitely had a few more bumps in the road.
I
Now,
understand, Frank. The first night or the first day, the first challenge, as soon as they were like, all right, who are we gonna put in? Everyone they were just like, hey, Frank's campaigning for you. I'm like, no, here we go again. So me and him had it out maybe the first couple challenges taking jabs, and then finally we cleared the air so we could have a successful day.
well, round 3 comes
I came to
around.
the realization.
Sorry, we're gonna move on past that now because we can talk about that. So round 3 comes around, and Nicholas puts in Aaron into elimination. Why, Nick? Why?
Okay, let me
I'm not
explain.
mad. I'm not mad. It's fine.
Okay, let me explain, because I got a little bit outside of the game too. I got some messages like, bitch, why are you going after Aaron? And I was like, I'm not going after Aaron. But listen, first off, I saved Casey that round also. So Casey, you were at least saved rounds 2 and 3.
Yep, you sure did.
Now, I will say I was originally not going to save you. Dresden, if you're watching this, I can't remember if it was Dresden or Billy. It was one of them. I was persuaded, honestly, because I was going to save Adam because I was like, a little throwaway. I don't think Adam's getting votes or anything. And they were like, well, why don't you just save Casey? And I was like, that's a good idea, because I was cool with Casey too. I was just trying not to I'm sorry, Casey, but your name was out a lot. And I was like, I don't know if I want to co-sign on to that. And I was like, girl, but then so they were like, why don't you do Casey? I was like, I sure will. And I was like, I saved Casey there.
And
But
she only had 1 vote that round, actually, and it was from Clayton randomly.
Oh,
But yeah, she was fine that.
I threw in Aaron, much love. There was a little more thought to it because we were looking at the names, and that was the name that Clayton went in. That was the time Clayton went in, and Charlie, and then I was like,
Anthony. Yeah.
I was spread very thin in the beginning of the game, and I was just looking, and I was like, oh my god, I was the first one to speak up. I was like, I'm doing Aaron, because that's about the only name I could have said at the time. But also, when you removed Charlie's name and Aaron's name and Clayton's name, and you look at the other names there, it was like, girl, the house was on the tippy tip of something. There were not many big names left. That had
there were a lot of big names left, but it was like everybody was still too scared to go for the big name.
So that's why I was like, sorry, Aaron, I'm gonna throw you in, and then that's why I took off the next round, because I was like, y'all can blow up next round. And I was like,
Billy, you won the challenge that round as well, and you decided to put in Clayton. What was the thought process behind that? Because for me, I was like, what the fuck? I forgot Clayton was playing.
Just to provide a little more insight with the saving, I remember going in and the first thing being like, okay, we're not doing Casey or Frank, because for me, I put out the reason being like, okay, they're resolving their shit. We don't need to continue that shit. But for me, it was like, if I solidify someone like Casey and Frank, we got someone like Casey who's protecting the newbies, and then Frank who's got connections with the vets and everything like that. That's going to be set for me, right? And then when it came to Dresden saved Matthew, and basically immediately, I put up the narrative of like, okay, Josh was getting votes round 1, Casey was getting votes round 2, both almost went in. Like, we could probably, like, I'm debating between them. Nick was like, I'll save one if you save the other. I'm like, perfect. Okay.
Exactly.
Appreciate you so much.
I think this season was really interesting because, the inner circle, the headmasters were immediately sequestered, right? So it was hard to figure out if the house was still going the way they were supposed to go. And then after that first round, y'all started doing so much more talking during the challenges, you know, right? Like it was like, child, I don't care if the challenge is going on. We got to figure out this right now.
Well, and what round did Jericho go in as fourth? Because
what round did she go in? Please, what round was that?
Yeah, we all want to know. Like,
yes, that's not yet. The round 4.
Oh, that's coming up.
Let me see if anything happened. Oh, this is the round that Aaron, you won, and Taylor won, and Corian won. So
Yeah.
This was the round that Casey, you went in because Taylor wasn't fucking with you. And then Aaron, you put in Max. Hey, Max.
Hey.
Hi.
Max, how did you feel when Aaron handed you your phone?
I was really confused, but like,
I don't know. Just
then again, when she gave me her reason, I was like, okay, fair. I like realistically hadn't talked to her at all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we probably talked to night 0 for 5-10 minutes, and that was probably it. But in my mind, there were so many players. I was all over the place.
Me too. It was so hard standing there and trying to pick a name out of all those folders. It was really hard to stand there.
Well, it wasn't hard for Taylor because she picked up Casey's folder in about 3.5 seconds. It had to be the fastest pick I had ever seen ever. And then Corian and Aaron were like sitting there like going back and forth. And Corian was pretty much not going to do anything until Aaron did something. But Aaron, do you remember who you saved that round?
No.
You saved Billy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Shout out Taylor.
It's like all like mixed in my head right now. Like I'm getting.
Let me clarify. Was it because I remember her telling me about this? Was it Taylor that told you like, hey, maybe you should like save Billy or some shit, or was that more?
No, I think I'm like trying to remember. Like my mind is like right now. But yeah, I think I saved you because remember I was kind of upset because Colin and Erica were in elimination, and I was upset about it because it was kind of my fault. And you comforted me, and you're like, you're not alone. And I was like, I have your back.
I appreciate you so freaking much for that.
My mistake, just to backtrack just a little bit,
Okay.
Because round 2 is the round that we need to uncover some of these mystery votes. And that was the round that everyone was saved or was already put in, and Jerica ended up going in. So
I had nothing to do with that.
does anybody want to okay, so Lee and Aaron, y'all both were headmasters, right? So Lee and Aaron, y'all were both headmasters. And then let's see what else happened there. Aaron saved Casey.
Right.
Eric saved Billy. Lee saved Matthew. And it was going to be Frank, Colin, and Casey had the most votes. So ended up it being Jerica. There were 3 votes on Jerica. If you voted for Jerica and you're on this call right now, please raise your hand.
Brinkley.
I did.
Brinkley, who else voted with you? Do you know?
I definitely know Donald Buddha voted with me because we decided. Actually, me and Donald were like, Jerica ain't really talking game with us. Let's just do Jerica. And he was like, okay. And then I think later on, we found out Dresden, I believe, was the 3rd vote. He was like, yeah, I voted with Jerica too. I was like, perfect, because we did too. And I don't even think we even talked about voting Jerica. So me, Don, and Dresden just happened to all vote Jerica that round, and it worked.
I remember sitting in the room with the votes, and we were just like jaw dropped when we realized what was about to happen. We're like, okay, now these people really need to start talking because.
And this was round 2, and I think I remember Jake. I think you came out to me. You was like, "No, like you gotta come in here." And Dante, the librarian, was in there freaking out, or Cypher was freaking out because he had set up a whole spreadsheet that tallied the votes, showed us the top 3 votes, and the top 3 votes were like off the table. He was, "Oh, the spreadsheet doesn't calculate this." I said, "Girl." Calm down. We never had no calculating shit like that before, so we good. Okay. We just gotta. So yeah, but just before that round, Jerica came to me and she said, oh, "Hey, Jerica, we love you."
Hey, Jerica.
I've been forgetting about this comment, but Jerica had just came to me before that round. She says, "It's always a twist of mayhem that fucks me over because in her first season." I think Stephanie used like a power.
Her and Benner had to become partners, and there's got fucked up. Yeah.
And then last season she got purged, and she would have made it to day 2 any other season, right? And then this season, all of a sudden, people getting saved, people getting voted in, and then it just ends up being Jerica. So we love you, Jerica, but that really, to me, with that round, it being, I think that was when Frank went in and you went in. I was like, okay. They're playing. Yay, they're playing.
Now, let's also some more context. Yes, I was definitely one of the people spreading this whole Hogwarts Alliance thing.
It was you.
Yes, it was definitely me. And people having connections. And so it was very intentional with certain people going in that I felt we felt very connected. We felt like Frank and James were the head of the connections. And so anyone underneath them that we could get sent in, the Jerica, the Anthony, even Christina, we felt like those folks needed to get in and get out. So that was a lot of the thought process behind that.
Anthony don't even know what a Hogwarts is.
Correct. But Christina is linked with James. And so that means that Anthony and Christina would probably do what James.
Now, watch what y'all say about Christina, because Mama Bear is up in here.
And that's fine. We're gonna keep it real raw and cut. But yeah, it made sense. That was a big. That was a lot.
Can y'all hear me?
That was just very.
I think Erica was apparently part of that alliance as well, right?
I did. Did you ask me a question?
Well, Frank, what do you have to say about the Hogwarts Alliance? Does it exist? Put it on the table right now. Was there a Hogwarts Alliance?
Well,
sounds like a yes to me.
I think there had to be, because like honestly, that round, Eric did not want Frank to be nominated by Aaron. Like he tried to save Frank, and it worked for a little bit, but Aaron went back to Frank, and I was just like, girl, you want to do it, go for it, because like it was on her mind, and it worked out perfectly.
What's that? Oh, it was the post by Bill Lucio. Oh my God.
Maybe.
No, I made 0 unbreakable vows with anybody. There was no Hogwarts Alliance. I was gonna keep an eye out for a few people, but there was no group chat or any talk of a Hogwarts Alliance.
Okay. I mean, I believe you. I believe you, but I mean that literally, that was one of the main narratives they went to. I'm glad you brought that up. So we're gonna put it on the record. There was no Hogwarts Alliance. So we have to take that as facts. All right.
Okay.
All right. What round were we at? I think we're at round 5. Okay. Round 5 is where things got a little shaky. Okay. As far as, let me preface this round by saying, and I'm bringing everybody on for this. I preface this round by saying, I love for Mayhem to always be not only a safe space, but a real place, right? It's supposed to give you those reality TV show moments. And honestly, the biggest thing in reality TV right now, especially over the last 2 years, has been diversity and how we, navigate that space, right? Because it's new. Mayhem is the only place where you will even get a diverse cast. So with us having a conversation about race or a race-related alliance, it's very real, and you're supposed to come to get a reality TV show experience. So, in this round, we had Marcelino, James, and Frank. You all won, and Marcelino saved Max, Frank saved Taylor, James saved Michael B. Now, Frank, you were in that decision room when that was happening with Marcelino and James. And can you give some insight on what the conversation was?
The conversation was we wanted to go after the people that play strong middle games. And all 3 of those players were not on anyone's hit list, playing the middle pretty efficiently. Didn't know if they're like, I've always wanted to work very closely with Corian. We were partners last year. But I told Corian this after, like, you never give me information. Like, we'll talk, we're cool, but there's never game information exchanged. So I can never move past a certain point in the game with players that are not giving me information.
Okay. Now, that is definitely probably your experience. My experience, me being someone who has to be bipartisan and unbiased, when I walked into the garage, the conversation was about, we understand what the optics might look like, but
yeah, James said, should I explain the optics? Yeah, James was asking if he should explain the optics, and I personally said, I don't really think you need to. I think Mayhem's above that. I don't think anybody's going to because in my mind, I guess that might be my ignorance, but in my mind, I didn't see it like that, and I was like, saying that, I don't understand that. Maybe he should have. Maybe that would have been better. But from my point of view, I thought that Mayhem was like beyond where other games are at with diversity and inclusion.
And I don't. You said one thing. You said Mayhem is above it. I don't think Mayhem is above it. I don't think anything is above it yet. You know, to have those kind of conversations and in a social game, kind of, you know, mirror the world, or mirror, you know, what things might look like. You know, if three guys went in there and put up, you know, three females, you know, it'll be like, damn, they get rid of all the girls. You know, it's the same type of conversation. And in that, when I walked in there, I said, oh my God, I'm thinking in my brain, like, I get that it's, you know, a game move, but maybe if someone's already thinking that, then something else can be done to still get the same result, right? I think in that moment, I don't think anybody really was doing it like, oh, let's get rid of all the African Americans. I don't think that was anyone's intention at all, because Mayhem is a safe place, and I don't think that would be anybody's intention, because we are above that.
That was not my.
I think
my number one alliance had Michael and Matthew and Lee were in like one of my number one alliances. So yeah.
I don't think
I was protecting the two of them.
I think that it's important to understand that when, just from past experiences in reality shows, that if three white people walk out of a room and hand folders to three black people, it's going to trigger someone, or look some type of way to someone. And you have to, in that moment, my lesson learned was, do I want to ever attach my name or my game to that perception? Is the game move worth it? And I think that it wasn't. That's just outside looking in. As soon as the conversation even came up about optics, I was like, well, shit. If you care about being looked at as a racist, then fuck this game and just put it with your friends. You know, y'all backstabbing your friends. So why risk looking like why risk that optic, you know, when it's just a game. But
and I think James was worried about that. I personally, and I guess I'm just ignorant, but I wasn't worried that I would be perceived like that. But maybe I don't see how everyone perceives me, and that's probably
But I think that's why you and Marcelino didn't really get the brunt of that. And I mean, we'll go to Matthew in a second when it comes to the next round. But Marcelino, to me, in that moment, I remember kind of looking at him, and he looked, as soon as the conversation came up about the perception, he looked olive. Like, he was like unsure. I remember, I don't know if you remember, Frank, but I kept on asking y'all for like a verbal yes, and he was like not saying. I'm like, is this who you're picking? And then even in his speech, when he was giving out the photos, he was like, I didn't want to do this. But when it came to that next round, Matthew, you win, and you put in James, and you had some words. Can you explain what happened and where that came from?
Sure. So the round when the previous round when the three folks went in, that was the same round that both Nicholas and Billy came up to me and said, "Hey, just let you know, it's being said that there's this group happening between you, JT, Dresden, Corian, and Lee." And I'm like angry, I'm sad, I'm frustrated. All these emotions are over me because one, it's like, damn, I'm a target. And that was the same round I used my power. So in my brain, if I didn't use my power, then I could have been on the chopping block if that is the narrative being spread for game purposes to get us out of the game. So,
was there anywhere in your brain that said, okay, with Nicholas and Billy coming to you and listing those names, saying, hey, look, there's an alliance, there's talks about this alliance between these folks. Was there anything in your brain that did not attach it to the color of your skin and just attach it to, okay, maybe we've been seen vibing, or was it immediately like Black people?
I think because of the people listed, I did go to race because just in reality, that is the one thing all those people have in common. And the reality is, again, let's say it was a white person that James has said that about, you couldn't just automatically attach certain people to it. And, and unfortunately, that is a luxury that certain folks have in this game where you can't just automatically just assume certain people are working together unless they have some type of connection, like the Hogwarts thing. And so I think it was assumed that since we have this in common, that these people, were working together. Like even James said, well, JT, your friends, Matthew. And like, I just met JT like a couple of days ago, for the first time, went to the club with him. And so I do think that there was a lot I'm going to say, what I should have said was there may have been a lot of unconscious bias that led you to make that decision around saying that us people were together, So,
they weren't going for JT at all. JT was, my vote was completely independent from like a group thing. JT was the only person that I really felt like going at because he wasn't talking game with me at all, and he came at me in Candyland, and I didn't want to go after Casey or Aaron, who had taken shots at me earlier in the game, because I wanted to prove that I could mend those relationships. And I had talked light game with almost everyone else or had a pre-existing conversation. So I picked JT. That was not a part of their decision at all. That was 100% just me independently. I think Dresden and Corian were a part of we were worried they were working with people that we might be working with, like Brinkley. I was worried Brinkley. I found out Brinkley was working with everybody though.
And which was a fact. And I want to bring up something else. I want to bring up something else that might be a fact as well. So we all know, last Big Brother, there was the cookout. And I know that I've been in orgs now where it's been mentioned, it'd be a few people color up in there. We'd be like, oh shit, it's something about the cookout is very inspiring. It is something that, we all wish as people of color we were a part of. I know I have been in an org where I wanted that to happen. I was added to that. Lee was in it. I wanted that to happen. And it just didn't work out. And then I was grouped with people in certain words and languages that made me feel uncomfortable. But in that org that I was in, the conversation was there to have a cookout, and it existed in some form, right? So was there a cookout or a POC-based alliance during Mayhem Manor 5 Lesson Learned?
The answer is no, but I will say JT at one point in the game said, hey, maybe we can create this. We're all going to meet at midnight and, have a conversation. But that never happened. There was never a time when all of us...
It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, there was never a time...
At least not a month first.
Yeah, there was never a time when all of us were together and said, hey, we're going to look out for each other. We got each other. We're going to run this game to the end with each other. That never happened.
Okay.
That might have been maybe JT wanted that to happen, but it never did. And so when it was told to me that there's a group forming between these people, that was another thing, because to say this group is forming this round is also just very wrong, So it was just a lot of just wrong information being spread at the expense of my game. So that's why I was very adamant about what I said.
You were definitely...
Also, Marcelino was going to cut James.
Marcelino was going to cut James in that round?
And James like whispered to him like really quickly, like, let's like make a powerful move or something. It was just, I don't know, just like everything is just like.
I got Nick, Casey, Billy. We're gonna start with Nick, come to Casey, and go to Billy. Nick.
Yeah, I just want to add, looking at the game and stuff, and James kind of had talked to kind of a group of us like, hey, be wary of, this might be a group. But I want to say what James said in the time. James was claiming that he overheard JT say that this might not be verbatim. So James, if you're watching, please, but it was very, the votes were just read and JT was a little like, this shouldn't have happened, something our group. And that's what really sparked what James was thinking.
Yes.
And when I look at it, I thought JT would be the outlier, but I don't think it was like, do I think there was a POC based like alliance? No. Do I think that there was maybe a person, Matthew, who had connections to each of them? Maybe it wasn't a group, but like Matthew and Lee were very close. A lot of us knew that, right? And I knew personally from previously that Matthew and Dresden were cool. So the idea of like, there's some network, not going to call it an alliance or something. Sure. JT being thrown in there, weird. And then James, well, I hear of a group. So that was it in a little bit of James's defense. Now, do I think putting all those pieces together, obviously they don't they're not cohesive. That's not how it worked. And yeah, I just want to put that out there too. But yeah.
Casey?
Yeah, when I heard Matt and James kind of going at it, I definitely was like, well, damn, because yeah, I mean, we did not know have an alliance. But when I had gone outside, I know JT was talking with like Dresden Corey and whatever, and he was definitely trying to do a kind of a cookout thing, but we weren't like, yeah. It wasn't like that at all, like what Matt was saying. It was more like what Frank was saying. There was no Hogwarts alliance, but we definitely were like, we're gonna look out for each other, knowing that if push came to shove, we would put each other up. It's not like, it's not like we're not gonna vote for each other, but like we definitely were like, we're gonna look out for each other because there's only but some of us, and not to bring up Taylor, but that's what I was trying to say with her. I'm like, girl, there are 30 people in this game and 7 girls. And and me and Erica are the only Black girls in this damn game. So let's look out for each other. So, when she was like, oh, girls, we're going to look out for each other, and then went and put me up, I'm like, so what happened to girls? So, I don't know. When it came to us, no, there was no alliance. But I definitely did feel a little for James because I'm like, damn. JT did say let's do like a cookout. I'm not surprised that James had brought it up because there was some truth to it. But no, there was no alliance. I didn't hear about no midnight meeting. I wasn't a part of that.
Me neither.
And then Billy.
Honestly, I was going to do the same thing that Nick was doing and just provide the context of JT said the comment. I believe it was something like it must have been someone from the group. At the time, I thought it was like, we were in like a sort of like pre-house kind of thing, and it was like Matthew, Lee, Taylor, myself, Adam, everything like that. But then when James came to me and talked to me about it, I don't know. Like for me, it was just like I didn't want to believe that. I could see the reasoning. I could see James based off of that. Like it's a game to play, and if you think people are friends, cool. But for me, it was like I'm not sure how I felt about this because at the time. Look, Clayton said it best. He wasn't close to Matthew, but I had I had a really good thing going with Matthew too, and it was really important for me to keep that relationship going. I knew maybe that like he was working with everyone, but that was a pure heart decision for me to be like, no, I'm not having this. Like, I'm gonna go to him and just like talk about this, and what happened. So,
and even more. And sorry, really quick, that round that JT got votes, I told Adam to vote for JT. So the same round that I'm being told I'm grouped with JT, I'm telling people to vote for JT in that same round. So once again, I was just upset that what I was doing in the game was being dictated, what wasn't really happening. So that's why I grew up and was over it.
I just want to clarify too. I didn't know that JT had said that when I put JT in. That had I was not worried about JT working with Matthew at all. JT was what will get the least amount of blowback from the house on me in the game.
Just
Part
one
of it
more
was
thing.
it
I was
coming out.
clueless to that conversation.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
Part
Nick.
of it was it coming out while you guys were deliberating, so you guys couldn't. It was a little bit of I kind of knew the shots that were going to be taken, so it was like, okay, I was kind of cool with Matthew. It was also like, I have a little bit of information. Let me see what I can do, because I didn't have much to bargain with at that time in the game. So as far as I'm concerned, like it just came out when you weren't even around. So in your defense of that.
Well, in conclusion on that, I loved all the drama that it brought with it. I loved the conversations that it sparked, and I loved how it ended with both of y'all saying "lesson learned" and then walk away from each other. I mean, it was honestly really perfect. I thought everybody really handled themselves well. I thought the casters were respectful to the conversation, and I think that I am proud of Mayhem for even to be able to facilitate that happening. Like, y'all, that's the closest we'll ever get to like something, that kind of shit be happening on Big Brother. So you can't go to no other live game and that even be a conversation. So I appreciate everyone and how they played a part in that. But we do have to move on. So the next round, Max goes in the very last round versus James, Marcelino, and Mike B. So I guess it wasn't a great move for Marcelino and James, no shade. So they go in the next round. Frank gets out of it scot-free, doesn't even get a save. And we have Max goes home, the final rounds of the day. Max.
2 times in a row. I was so upset. I was like, you have to be kidding me. I literally worked so hard and had come so close many times again in day 1.
But can we clap it up for Max for staying up for over 12 hours?
That was
crazy.
My back is still messed up from that. I sat in that massage chair for way too long.
You did. I walked downstairs at like 4 a.m. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh shit. Oops. Billy, go ahead.
I'd say without exaggeration that was the most stressful round I've ever played in a game in my entire life. Because as soon as Matthew, Corian, and Don won, the vote was like, okay, how do we get to day 2? Who are they going to save and who are they going to put in? And there were just only a few people that landed in the middle of weren't being chosen by anyone, and that was me, Max, and Taylor's name was thrown out as well.
Yep.
I didn't know what to do.
Taylor had 1 vote. You and Max had 4.
I'm so glad I opted out.
And when I didn't even know Max was throwing my name out the round before, so I was already like loyal to Max as fuck.
Max!
What gets me to day 2? Adam comes to me and says, "Let's do Max." I'm like, "Perfect, let's do it." I literally go to I jump into a new conversation every 5 seconds. I was the most paranoid I've ever been in my life. And just like, Max, you know how much I fucking adore you, and I'm glad that we got to play day 2 together, even more so from there. But
100%. It worked out in the end.
And just a shout out to Corey and Matthew and Don for.
So Frank, do you remember who you voted for that round?
I voted for Max, and I voted for Max, and I told Max afterwards that I voted for him. But yeah, I had been writing checks to everyone else in the house. So.
And Lee, do you remember who you voted for?
I voted for Billy. I mean, I saw the connection between you and Taylor, but like also like I really wanted to work like very close with Max. Coming into it, we didn't know the format. And a question that I got asked was like, if I could pick someone to be my partner in this game, I would have wanted it to be Max. So, but like, I love both of you guys. Like, it was a hard decision. I wish both of you would have been like Taylor, but you know,
there was zero chance I was writing Taylor.
Do you remember who you voted for?
I voted Max.
No, you didn't.
Oh, who did I vote? Did I vote Taylor?
You were the one, Taylor.
I was. I've been throwing votes all day.
Oh,
like,
no.
I don't remember them. I did not get a group or anything. They were doing votes so smart. They were doing it as a group. And I was like, I just went into the voting booth and I was like, who do we feel like this time? And I was just like hoping that one person wouldn't be crazy. I thought I voted Max because Max told me, I think he threw a vote on me one time and then I got mad. And I was like, okay, Max. And then,
yeah, I'd thrown a vote 2 rounds earlier on you.
James threw his vote on me as well that round.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You had one vote, but you were saved by you had got saved by Corian, so that vote didn't count.
Was I saved that round?
You were saved that round by Donald.
Okay.
No, I was pushing for Billy the round before though, because I'd seen Billy and I was like, okay, how is no one seeing him as a threat? Like he's so nice, but he's gonna pop off in day 2 if we let him get to day 2. That was my main concern. I was like, this dude's gonna go off. So I was like, we have to take a shot late in day 1 when he's not expecting it, and it didn't work out.
So Jake, who didn't you see day 1 in here? You never saw who? Matthew.
I don't think Nicholas ever did detention. I don't think Billy ever did detention. Lee, did you have to go to?
No.
I don't know what detention is, sweetie.
You saw a lot of me.
Twice.
I saw a lot of Aaron.
Yeah, you saw a lot of me.
A lot of
Frank.
Adam didn't get 10.
And I think Casey, did you go out on spelling test?
Yes, I don't know how to spell hippopotamus, and I'm an animal science major. Fuck myself.
Hippopotamus.
I don't know how I won that, so I have no clue.
But I was proud of you, Max. I was like, if anyone's gonna whoop my ass, I'm thankful it's you.
Now let's move over to when the game really got started. We're gonna have to kind of like speed through this a little bit, but freaking day 2 starts. Y'all have to get into pairs. What's going through your mind?
I just knew I was fucked from there. I knew it. Because I thrive on an individual game, and as soon as like, okay, if people are going to link me up with threats, like I don't think by playing the middle, it also gave me the sort of weight on my shoulder that I didn't have one ride or dies. Only Taylor was probably the only person that would have like.
Frank and Aaron, what made y'all link up that first round?
I don't know. I was looking for a partner.
I wanted.
You wanted me, but
I wanted Aaron because she was so feared, and I'm terrible at trivia. And I was like, if I got to go back in that room, I want Aaron with me. People are going to be scared to go against us, like.
But that was proven to be a lie because Lee put y'all asses up.
I know.
Was that Buzz? Was that the Buzz competition?
That was eating
food.
That was the eating challenge.
Oh, okay.
But then it was the mini golf challenge.
Oh my
where
God,
Aaron
yes.
and Frank were toast.
Yeah.
Jake,
Jesus,
do you remember us on the side like it was Aaron's
This whole round is just iconic for challenges. The whole thing from Food Pyramid onwards, when we were like shopping for the stuff at Dollar Tree, like throwing the blocks of cheese in amongst the crayons and pencils.
That was
stuff,
gross,
which was
by the way.
That was terrible.
I
Jake was your only advocate. I promise you, he was your only advocate. The rest of the production.
I literally word for word said I said a whole block, and he's like, "We got to make this difficult." I was like, "A whole block of this cheese?" Like,
I felt so bad like that I didn't step in for like even one of like the final like later rounds. But then I saw that bowl of veggies, and if I would have eaten that bowl of veggies, I literally would have ended up in the hospital. So like,
with Max being my partner, he was like, Casey, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know food wise how I can handle this. I said, Max, if there's one thing this girl can do is eat. I got this.
Can we just give it up for Casey for fucking killing that challenge?
Yeah, you were
Holy
awesome.
shit, like
I
popped
didn't like
off.
well, and then we got
to do all that,
and then we got to mini golf, and geez,
That was
I thought
hard
that the
work,
mini
eh?
golf game was going to be a mess when I was creating it, just with the design of it, but you guys made it so much more exciting than I could have ever hoped for. Aaron, I don't know if you know this, but the very first hit you took, you had your golf club backwards, which I was just like, oh, Lord, this is going to be so rough for them. And then people were leaving the lives, like they were like, oh, it's over, and then
out of nowhere.
I won a mini golf.
The universe.
I was at that back also. So
Everybody started commenting. They said Frank is an evil genius. Frank is an evil genius.
Yeah.
But okay, next round we go, and Aaron and Billy get put in now. So
let me explain a little bit of what happened there. Is that when we were walking up, I told Aaron, hey, like, don't put us together because I think we're both sort of at the bottom.
Colin told me that too. Colin was like,
Colin
don't.
said- Yep, and we're walking up, we're all good. Right as we walk in the door, Casey pulls you aside. Hey, you should go with Billy. That'd be a good idea.
No. But okay, yeah, I did say that. I did say that. But,
Chris with the marbles.
Then I walked in the room and I heard somebody saying something about Billy, and I ran to Aaron and was like, "Don't pick Billy. Don't pick Billy. Don't pick Billy."
Oh,
I know what I
really?
said.
Okay.
Don't pick Billy. And then when they ended up together, I literally was like, "Oh no."
Okay, period. So you look. Okay,
Production,
period. So
we
you're
knew too.
loyal. Thank you. Okay, good. That's all I needed.
Oh my god.
But
I
to
did think
I'm
also,
so
okay,
sorry.
and
I feel
then
like
I heard the room and I was like, "Ooh, I retreat."
Okay, cool. Cute.
But to
Okay,
also
yeah,
add
that makes me
that-
feel better.
Go ahead,
but also
man.
in context during the buzz round, Billy, you kept going after the team that was winning. So I
Yeah.
said, you know what? I'm not going to press this buzz thing at all, so that no one looks at me. So I knew Billy, you were going up because you kept going after Michael and
I
his
had
team.
to. I absolutely had to because I knew that the only chance I could have been saved is if Max and Lee won. I saw Max killing the puzzle, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to
So close, so close.
slow down
Five
everyone
pieces.
down as much as humanly possible. But unfortunately, Mark kind of beat me to
Me,
it.
Don, and Lee looked at each other like, we're not calling each other. So that was the three of y'all was doing all that. So we were good that round.
Okay, so now this next round, this is when Matthew and Nick and you all, do y'all remember who y'all eliminated?
Yes.
Who?
It was Frank and Max.
It sure was.
Oh yeah! Wow. Woo. Max, Max. I know we're gonna need some therapy to get our relationship back on track.
It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time.
First off, back up. Matthew tried to throw the challenge during the coins,
Oh,
and I was this bitch.
I was
cut
trying
on.
so hard. I was trying so hard to throw
I
that
thought
challenge.
that gondola was going to take it to the fucking top. I'm
yeah.
No, I was ready. I wanted to win, and I looked at Matthew. I was like, "This bitch, I cannot believe." And he's like, dime. I was like, quarter. And I was like, no.
Matt's
I
dropping
really
some
wanted to
quarters
win.
into the pool. Oh, I can't find them. Like,
I wanted
was-
Casey and Adam to win because I
Yes.
felt like they were going to keep us safe. And similar to the eating challenge, me and Michael said, "Let's throw it because we're good." So that was my whole thing. Day 2, just throwing certain things when I needed to. So I was definitely trying to throw that fucking challenge, but that boat kept it floating. So
I told them, I said, listen, if I win this boat challenge, you guys are good. Someone else is good. We know exactly what we're doing. Like, we're gonna win this challenge.
Casey, you probably told everybody that it was.
Maybe, but this time,
Honestly, at that point in the game, yeah, like
this time it was true, and our little boat kept afloat. And then when y'all's broke and still won, I couldn't believe it. And then you even tried to like push water into
Girl.
the boat, and that didn't work. I
he was like,
oh,
Now,
"What is he doing?"
we have to talk
Sorry,
about
Nick.
the classic challenge of checkmate. And Frank,
Mm.
I have to give it up to you because we've done that challenge 3 times. And as you were doing it, Jake looked at me. I looked at him. I said, we didn't say he couldn't do it.
yeah, the whole tree climbing thing, Tarzan. We saw that.
I should have went higher. My
Yeah.
big lesson learned is next time I could have physically got 50 feet up in that tree to where
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could have got it. I should have done it.
there will be a Frank.
Sorry,
Wolf
Frank.
out,
I'm so
Oh.
sorry.
That
think-
was so, and Max, you had one of the most real and epic breakdowns during that challenge. And I remember the first thing I said to Choppa and to Dante was zoom in. And then the second thing I said was I looked up and Jericho was about to go down the slide. I said, Jericho. She looked back at me. I said, Max needs you. And she hit down that pool.
Oh yeah, she was there quick.
Yeah.
And I think honestly what happened was I hadn't had a lot of food in my system because I was having eating issues all weekend because my anxiety was high and all that. And then I had a few hours of sleep in my system because I was just up the whole night before.
Yeah. True.
I just overexerted the first 3 minutes and then I just literally was running back, dry heaving. And I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Frank kept saying, he said, can you just please look?
And I knew where a few were, so I was like, okay, I know there's one somewhere there, someone that way. And then
I do have to
if it wasn't captured on the lives, it was incredibly close though. Like
It was.
despite what was going on,
There
like
was
there was
one
one single
behind us
piece
that we didn't
was
know
just
about.
behind you. Like it was that. It was so close. Like
It was. It was. It was one of the most heartbreaking eliminations because it was so close, even throughout all that, struggle and drama.
Yo,
We have Casey's besties is here watching. Hey, Taylor girl.
Hi, Taylor. Oh, now you show up.
hi. That's number one ever. Love her.
Oh, okay. And so next round. Okay, we almost to the end. So next round,
my favorite.
I bet. This is where Matthew and Casey get eliminated because Adam, out of all people, Adam.
Yeah, where's he at?
The face that Casey and Matt had when they got that folder was like, y'all just went ghosts.
It was the move of the season. I don't even like.
Yeah,
it's what needed to be done. As much as it was like a loyalty break, like both of you were fucking killing it, and he just solidified himself as like the main contender.
And even though Adam did it, that was Nick's move. Nick kept saying, or he said, "There's no way we can let Matt get to this." He said, Neville just said, "This is the last one. This is the last one. He cannot get through without going through."
Oh, when you said that, Neville, I was so pissed. Oh my God. I said, "Lord, not the last one, child."
Nick, did you know you were like going in as well? Like you wanted to go in against Casey and Brinkley? Like,
Okay, so just to back up a little bit, Adam and I were a final two. We solidified at day 2. We were super close. So I thought that round that Matthew and Casey were the obvious ones to go in. And I was like, girl, yeah, get them in. And then I thought it was between us or Mark. Bitch, it was us being the obvious ones.
yeah,
And I was fighting not to go against Mark, which to me is asinine, crazy. I mean, looking at the pieces on the board, to me personally, Matthew
I
and Casey,
agree.
I mean,
I agree with you 100%.
phenomenal games. They should have been the obvious one, in my opinion. So I didn't know, and I knew Adam wasn't going to throw us in. Like I felt really good with Adam. Did not know I needed to put that much work into Dawn. Should have obviously done more with Dawn, but I was in Adam's face saying, we just let Matthew win that fucking counting competition, and not one of us made Matthew get up and do some math. Not one. Matthew won that entire. I said that too. I was like, finger up. I was like, we just let this bitch win that round for nothing. Like, I mean, Matthew is playing amazingly.
Yeah.
Why are we not doing this? We are gonna look so stupid. If
He
I'm
did.
voting for Matthew, I'm voting for Matthew too. Like,
Not knowing he was convincing them to put y'all in against him.
listen. And if I was gonna lose at that point, at least I'd have lost to an amazing duo at that point. So didn't know I was on the chopping block, but the other team was the correct team to be on the chopping block.
I knew too.
Your partner Nick was Mark at the time.
Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, Dawn already knew. I already knew Dawn was gonna do y'all from jump.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. He wasn't playing around.
I was working on Adam, just put in Mark and Lee the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't work out. So
Yeah, we couldn't change his mind. But I was blown because just like, and no offense to Adam or whatever, but who said what was your beginning game? Nick, you said that to who?
To Dawn.
Well, that's how I felt about Adam. I'm like, damn, me and Matt high key, like Adam played the middle ground the whole round, and I wanted to see him go far as he makes live reality games himself. I mean, I wanted to, and he's a newbie, so I had that whole like, Adam, I got you, you got me, whatever. But we weren't even I wasn't even that strong with him. Little did I realize.
I think he got a good solid beginning. I think he played well in the beginning. Like a lot of people that went in were due to like secret votes from like John and Adam. Like they caused like a voting block. So I definitely think he was playing from the start.
Yeah, I guess
he had the opportunity or power to make the move that he wanted, and that
under the radar, as one might say.
Yeah,
I know. Like
very effective under that.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to the end part of the game, I do have one other scandal that I do need to, kind of clear up on this podcast. So we all know that Max did come back in the game with the challenge portion of the comeback. Now, every season since I think season 3 now, maybe 4, I might lie, we've had the Patreon comeback, and it's something that we've done successfully for like 2 seasons in Takeover as well. Well, I've never given a damn about who vote and where the votes come from. You know, we just count votes and go. I want to give a huge shout out to Chris Gartner. He has taken the whole Patreon experience to a whole new level. Ever since last Mayhem, my last Mayhem, I had someone in charge of it, and they just that wasn't the job for them. Chris came in during the last 2 takeovers, took it to the next level, came in this time, and it was just a better understanding of, you know, in takeover we don't get that many votes. It's not, you know, we get maybe 20, 30. Mayhem, you know, we push in 50, 60, 70 votes. And I've never really cared. There were some players who bought accounts for themselves in order to vote for themselves. That was completely and utterly legal. It was not against any rules. I don't want anyone to think that anyone cheated during Mayhem 5 to get back into the game. That was all per the rules. In the middle of the night, I pulled production into the room and had a revelation that Patreon is for the viewers, and allowing players to vote more than once for themselves skews people even being encouraged to want to watch or to want to vote. So I made the decision before the votes were final, as votes were still coming in, I made the decision to make sure that in the morning we removed all of those votes. We did not stop it in the middle of the night. We did not go to those people in the middle of the night. Nobody. Now, I will say I'm not McAfee, okay? I'm not an antivirus detector, okay? So I only pulled the votes that were clear and obvious to be duplicate votes, okay? Now, if somebody made up an account that said Barbara Jean, then Barbara Jean's vote was counted, okay? But if you had an account that said Neville 1, Neville 2, Neville 3, Neville 4, Neville 5, those votes were pulled. And the 2 people who had the highest votes after that were Casey and Mark, and they came back to the game. I don't want anybody walking away from Mayhem thinking that anyone cheated, okay? If just like when you play Candy Crush and you buy a little extra life, it's the same thing. They was paying to play, and that was legal up until the night before. All right? So I just wanted to clear that up. Patrons, please keep supporting. Your vote now matters even more. All right. So we get into the final stage of the game. At this point, we have Lee still in the game, Nick still in the game, Mark still in the game. Who else?
Adam.
And then
That was it, right?
Is it final 6 or final 4? Just 4.
Final 4.
This is final 4.
Okay, yeah.
Jake,
Michael
when
and
you saw
John just seen out the round before.
Jake, do you remember when we were planning the game? Before we got to Orlando, the finale was switched.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it was so this is a little behind the scenes tea. Before the Big Brother finale, it was supposed to be the jury vote was going to take us down to the final 2. And then the final 2 were going to take the final exam. After Taylor slayed that speech on Big Brother, I got into that group chat. I said, y'all, it has to be switched. It has to be switched. I'm like, how do y'all feel about this? I know I'm switching it. Like, I know we're about to go down there in a couple of things, but it has to be switched. Nick, thank you so much for that fucking speech.
That was amazing.
Because it made that decision just feel so right.
Yep.
Because had we not changed it, I don't know how that would have went with like 4 speeches and then a vote between 4 people. It just wouldn't have hit.
And it also worked because the extra credit stars worked better than we would have thought as well, because it ended up having a complete impact by a single star.
By a single star. Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up, Jake. Because Lee would have been sitting in the finale if he would have won one more challenge.
Or one more question.
Or study the color of your hat. I mean, whatever. You know, whatever.
You got the color of my hat wrong. You got something else wrong. I was like, how do you get these wrong?
Yeah.
But I think, Nick, you completely slayed the final exam, right? It was between Mark and Lee, right?
Yeah.
Jake, when Mark handed in his test first, what was going through your head?
Yeah, I was like, I was rooting for all of them at this point, but when Mark handed it in, I was just kind of thinking like, okay, Lee, you better double check your test. Like, because I knew with the stars, because I knew Mark had a lot. So I was just kind of like,
Yeah, one more than
we
me.
said at the very end, I don't know if people know this, but on the final exam, at the very end of the test, it says, as a tiebreaker is needed, whoever hands their test in first. So when you're in the exam and you see other people are ahead of me, that's your time to be like, double check. I've got nothing but time on my hand because I won't win the tiebreaker anyways.
Yeah, for absolute clarity, Adam was a chop. Okay.
Yeah, and Adam knew that too.
Poor Adam taking that test.
Well,
I felt like I was back in school. You know, when you see that one person just like.
And then we like had a quadruple check the exams because it was that close. Like I think all of us looked at Lee and Mark's twice just to make sure there was nothing wrong. Like we knew Nick took it with his exam, but Lee and Mark were just so close with those stars, and we were like, well. He's the one.
Yeah, we were like, we gotta count it over and over. But thank y'all so much because y'all did so good at that final exam. And y'all have to understand, like, we literally had to put that final exam together during the game. Like, we were upstairs printing out that shit, you know, and coming up with those last questions. So again, shout out to the team. Go ahead, Frank.
I also thought it was really cool on the final exam to see, you look around the main room and you see all these little study groups for like a lesson learned season. I thought it was so cool to see that.
I agree. I thought that was really cute. And when they had to study for the we did skip when Dawn and Mike went out, when they had to study the cast pictures. I like that.
Oh, that's what that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, people started studying for the final exam too. They figured it was coming. So I really like that aspect too, Frank. And that wasn't like in our brains really. But to watch that, like, you know, happen in real time, I thought that was really, really cool, especially with the theme. But
before we wrap up, there's one thing I have to ask about because I feel like we blew by it, and I need to ask Lee if he's watched the Card Sharks Challenge.
Yeah, no, I have. Yeah, I have. I have a clip of it.
Lee, I have never laughed so hard in my life at a challenge.
I know. I was about to say that was amazing.
Well, just the funniest part was just on the third one because you hear Neville say, "Fuck it up, sis," and then Lee turns to the crowd and goes, "I'm gonna get it this time," talking about getting the card at the bottom of the pool. But we're all
I did not get the card.
And I just
that was me who took it.
All of the eliminated players were like on the other side of the pool. We had like front row seats. We were
hysterical.
giving out 10s. It was perfect.
Oh, they were like, it just was incredible. It was, and we kept going. Like,
I take credit for that video, Matthew. That was my video that I took. It was me.
Very good. I know that's right.
Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. We needed that, baby. But yes. I mean, honestly, before we wrap up, there were so many funny ass moments this season. Not even just in the house. I think this was the most fun I've ever had pre-game at the pre-house. I think it was the most fun I ever had post-game at the post-house. Just all together, the whole experience. And even when people fucked up, you know, people was like, lesson learned, you know, and then you just moved on and you had fun. It just is a testament to this becoming more like the challenge. It's a testament of just people understanding that they want to come and have fun. Us at the club, and there was always different things to do. You know, if people went to the club, then some people stayed at the house. If some people stayed at the house, some people went to Universal, some people went to Lil Nas X concerts, Lee. You know, people was doing different things, and I just thought that was really cool. It felt different than any other Mayhem to me. I don't know, maybe because more people were there, but it just was a real good sense of community. But let's not end without all again giving our winner, Nicholas, a round of applause again.
Yeah.
Winning damn near unanimously. Only one vote wasn't for you as far as everyone in the house. I did ask some people who had left right before the finale for their votes in case there was a tie. The votes that I did receive, they were for you as well. So you completely slayed. Nick, how does it feel to win the biggest live game, the 5th season, after, you know, trying so many times? What's the feeling like?
That's that's the coolest part, is that I feel like I won a season that came to play. Like that's the best part. I didn't just win any season. I feel like myself, I came to play day one, it was like, okay, 3 out of 4 people are going home. Let's let them deal with that. But day 2, I was like, I'm ready to, I went to Michael B. I went to Billy, Max. I think I even said Frank to round 2. I was like, bitch, I'm ready to cut. Like, I'm cutting people. I'm so ready. And then sorry, Frank, it ended up being you. But later when we won that challenge, but it was just like I had a list of people who I thought were gonna win, and I was like, it's just the people that needed to go. And to touch a little bit on the speech, I mean, like, I told them, they were asking, like, what are you thinking about speeches? Because they only gave us an hour to study, to get ready, and do your speech. It's just not enough time. I was like, okay, I have 1 or 2 things I want to say, but I didn't sit down. I didn't try to choreograph it or try to come up with a script or anything. And I just want it to be organic and just let it come out. And if it's word vomit, then I'll fix it later and I'll try again next time. But this time I was just sick of being underrated. Every season, it was not like, it's not a joke. The first time I played Mayhem, I was 3rd to last pick out of 29. And I was like, in orgs, I do well at challenges. It's what I do. And I was like, why is this not coming across? So it was like,
I think that's why your speech was so great, was because it was organic. It was just from the heart. That's how great it was. It was just just,
and it led to the most votes for a winner in a live game history to point out.
History. And I told Nick this, but I haven't told anybody else this. The speeches were timed. Like, you had a certain amount of time for a speech. Nick ended his speech with a second left on the timer.
Wow.
It's my biggest regret that I didn't let the timer go off, because after he was done, I just hit it and I looked and it was 1 second left. So if he would have ended his speech and then it said, it's my biggest regret. But you really ate that speech, Nick. And from the bottom of my heart, you've grown from just being this random guy who said he just, lived in Florida, wanted to come play my game, to, being my friend and coming and helping me on Takeover, which is, something that's so near and dear to my heart, my brand. Thank you for jumping on that. And then to see you beg me, literally, y'all, I was ignoring Nick's messages just because I was doing a lot too. And, Nick had asked me to Takeover 3. Hey, is there a spot? I'm like, yeah, it's probably a spot. I was ignoring him. He was like, hey, Mayhem. I was like, okay, yes. Come on. So he wanted to play and he came to play, and the proof is in the pudding. He fucking won. So,
yeah, he did.
And you hold a record, and I don't know who would ever beat that record. I just don't know who, because I don't know if I'm going to have another jury season or not. But
something different every season.
So for right now, there are no announcements about Mayhem 6. I have no information to drop. You're going to have to stay tuned. It will be next year, but as far as the date comes, there's nothing set in stone. Right now, we're working on some takeovers and a launch of a brand new series. That's the focus right now. If anyone hasn't heard, we have Wedding Party Showdown. And it's when we take a bachelor party and a bachelorette party and we throw them into the Sweet Escape house, and they have their bachelor party in the form of a live game. And I'm honored to do the first season for Casey and her husband to be. So that is going to be in April. And you will see some familiar faces, but you'll also see a lot of new faces. I'm hoping that it's also a way for us to recruit and get some people into the live game community as well, because that's what we like to do here at On Jake Productions, do other things and then trick people into coming to Mayhem. But thank you. Does anybody have anything going on? Oh, Nick, talk your shit real quick.
I am hosting my own live game in December. It's been kind of low key. A Facebook group will be made. It's already cast, so keep an eye out. It's called Synergy. It is a duos game. You sign up with your partner, you play, you win, or you lose with your partner. It's in Orlando, Florida. It'll be a lot of fun. It's challenge based, but not based on the challenge. So it's a little different there, but a lot of fun. Keep an eye out for it. Duos games.
Yay!
I mean, how better? Could it be any better? You going into hosting a first live game with
I know.
a crowd.
I know.
Are there more spots, or it's already filled up?
We'll talk, girl.
Shit, I ain't got no crown and I host these shits. Anybody else have anything going on?
Yeah. Oh no.
Frank,
if you need harem pants, harempants.com, promo code for the fans.
I ain't get my pants, Frank, so I'll just send you my address. How about that?
Billy got your pants.
Billy got him.
Billy got him.
Good. I'm glad.
Winners Alliance got shattered, so I had to
Those
give the pants
pants
to
are the
someone
reason I
else.
lost that puzzle. If I didn't have those pants on, if I had normal pants on, I could have seen all my pieces fine. I would have done it
Not
fast.
blaming on the pants. This
Love the
person's
pants,
really
but-
modest. This person's really modest, and they don't talk their shit enough. But Jake, you have had such a roller coaster year. I'm so proud of you and all your accomplishments. Just please talk on them just for a second before we end this live.
Yeah, well, thanks, Neville. Yes, if you're not following Majestic Circus on Facebook, please do so. That is the company I started after COVID happened, and we have a lot of exciting things happening. We have some game shows on a brand new cruise ship, hopefully more to be coming in the near future, and you can book with some of our ringmasters and play games with them. Matt Mitchum, who is the cruise director on the Real Love Boat, you can play a game with him. Dr. E, who is on the Circle, you can play a game with him. So go follow Majestic Circus, and that would mean a lot to me.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Everybody, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You guys have made Mayhem such a moment. Every year is a lesson learned from me as well and my team. We only strive to do better, and every year you're going to get something different, and I hope that you guys spread the word. Let's keep on growing this thing, and let's continue growing our winner circle. Shout out to Lee, the reigning winner of TakeOver 3. No longer the reigning winner of On Jake Productions, because that goes to Mr. Nick. So congratulations to two of my winners up in here, and congratulations to everyone else. Shout out to all the viewers. I did not get to click on y'all, all y'all comments. They were coming a little too fast earlier, and it was all over the place. But shout out to the first lady of On Jake Productions, Mary Beth. Facebook user, I don't know who this is. That's why I didn't click on any of your comments. I think it might be JT. I don't know. Girl, you blocked by live reality game something, girl? Okay, we'll talk about that later. But anywho, shout out to everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for next Mayhem. You should be there. And I heard I almost slipped because it already is being planned. Almost slipped by saying something. I ain't gonna say shit, but stay tuned. Okay, stay tuned. I should say it.
Yes.
You should say it.
Yeah.
Say it. Give us
Okay.
something.
All right. Here's the only hint, because I did a hint last year. Here's the only hint. The only hint is. Oh no. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to the jungle. That's all I'm saying. And bye. I'm out of here.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Love y'all.